Hello again, my friends. This is Brian Leslie Flaherty from Family Secrets coming back to you here on unit number 3 on course number 5. The course is the secret to prioritizing family relationships.
Yes.
And this unit is to put into balance some things we said in unit 1 and unit 2.
Yeah.
Because by now you're probably thinking, you don't like kids. We
Not
talk
true.
so
But
much
yeah.
about prioritizing our marriage and the relationships we have in the church and God.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk to you about the priority of your children. I mean, it'd be foolish for us to have 5 kids and not like children.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
we love kids. Not we especially love ours, but we love kids in general. Period. But there's a place and a time for them. I'm not talking the old school. If they thought 2 generations ago, like you sit your backside over here and keep your mouth shut. I'm not talking about that. But your children have to have a certain kind of priority, and they have to know that they're cared for and they're valued
Yes.
and they're loved,
Yes.
not neglected.
Right.
Because even when we talked about like the reconnect time in the last, my kids knew I wasn't neglecting them. I
Right.
would just give them on priority,
Right.
and then I was coming back to them
Yes.
because I wasn't about to neglect my children.
Right.
I was going to give them the time that they deserve, needed, and wanted. So we're going to talk about that. We got some basic rubber meat road ideas to help you prioritize your children, things you can do with them, and some of them are anti-cultural or countercultural or radical, depending on how you want to look at it. Some of them are just common sense. Some of them are things that you're going to go, you people are old and you know what you're talking about, but the reality is they still work.
Yeah.
They still work because principles work.
Yes.
One of the things we like to do is actually teach with principles and let you apply the principle in your life with your family as you see fit. But the principle still works.
Yeah.
The principle that we talked about, God first, works. The principle we talked about your spouse second, it still works.
Yes.
So now we're talking about children are number 3.
Yes.
They're the third priority in your family.
Yes.
Okay? Now, there's different levels of that priority, but there's third level of priority in your family. God first, spouse second. Now the children come in to play. So let's talk about that for a few minutes. Why don't you give us some ideas on what we're trying to get across to people on how that plays out in real life.
Okay. So it's very easy in today's society to get very caught up in all the distractions of the age. There are devices of every kind that you can be locked in on, that your kids could get locked in on. I know that there's lots of education to be done through different devices, through different apps, through all the things that you can get your hands on. But to make children a priority means that they can't always be on a screen, and you can't always be on a screen.
Right.
There has to be time where you put those things down and you actually spend time with each other.
Yeah.
So that is my first thought when I'm talking about prioritizing your children. You have to be willing to set down your phone, your iPad, your whatever you have, your TV even still. In our day and age, back when we were raising our kids, it was put your newspaper down and look at each other. Okay, well, that's not a thing anymore.
Not even close.
But there are all these devices that keep everyone's attention constantly on them. If you go to a restaurant, you see people on their devices at the table with other people around doing the same thing. They're all on their devices.
Right.
They're not spending time looking at each other, talking to each other, engaging with one another.
They barely talk to the waiter.
Yeah, barely. They go barely look up at the waiter who's getting their order from them. So really, a priority for children is to put the screen down, and for you is to put the screen down so that you can spend quality time looking and talking to each other.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
Yeah.
And when you talk, make sure they get the eye contact.
Yes.
Make sure they have your attention, you have their attention.
Yes. With children, always get down on their level.
Absolutely.
Get down where they're at and talk to them. Or bring them up to where you are so they can talk to you. But they need to see your face. They need to see the love in your eyes. They need to see the interest and the concern in your face and in your eyes. It's a really important thing that it gets eliminated a lot in today's age. So just please look at your children and talk to them.
Absolutely. As a busy dad, I might be on my computer, I might be on my phone or on a tablet or whatever I'm doing. I might be reading something and my children come into the room and they want my attention. And it's really easy to do the old over the shoulder, okay. and not even hear what they say. You have to learn to say, hang on a second, let me make sure that I give you the attention that you want.
Right.
Give me a second, you can have my undivided attention. Let me finish this project if it's that important,
Mm-hmm.
or just stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like I might be doing an online webinar or seminar or something where I'm in the middle of training. If it's a live training, I'll tell them, give me 20 minutes. It's about over, and then let's have that conversation. If it's a recorded one, I can hit pause.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I can actually pause what I'm doing,
Right.
which shows them value and priority,
Right.
and turn myself away from that
Mm-hmm.
and look at them and say, yeah, what is it that you need? And have the eye-to-eye
Mm-hmm.
contact, have that conversation, and listen to what they're having to say. Even if it's just a request, or even if it's just a bad dad joke, which we do a lot at our house.
But it gives them value.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you stop what you are doing and you look at them and you make time for them, that gives them value.
Absolutely.
And that's what's important about prioritizing them. So.
Yeah. Any other suggestions?
Another thing that you can do is read to your kids. Read to your kids. When they're little, put them up on your lap and read to them. Everybody sit on the couch together and read. Read stories. Read good books to each other. My kids used to always love when they were like early elementary kind of age. They would run to the bed like at 8 o'clock at night because mom was going to read a chapter from the book, and so we were going to all sit down and read a story together, and they loved it.
Mm-hmm.
They loved it because they got my time, and they were able to share a story together, and they were really excited about that. Littles, they like to sit and just look at the pictures in the book and let them turn the pages, but you're spending time with them, you're reading with them. You can teach them all kinds of things about the Lord through books.
Yeah.
You can get books that have good values in them, books that have good principles in them. Don't just read any old thing to them, but read them things that are quality, so that you're teaching them and you're putting into them, you're feeding their spirits and their souls good things, so that they are growing, and that's a great thing to do for kids.
Absolutely. And sometimes when you're reading, it doesn't have to be educational. It doesn't even have to be spiritual. It could just be fun. It could be something that you're doing for fun. There's a particular book that I used to do voices in this book for my children.
Yes.
And now that they're older, every once in a while, my older children pull this book out. Dad, do that voice. I'm like, you're 22 years old.
They love it.
But no, do the voice.
They love it.
Do the voice. And now I've got grandchildren, and my daughter's like, read this book to my kids. Do the voice. So it's building priority and relationship, and it carries on a legacy. It carries on, generationally. So have fun, educate, learn, grow, have those moments. But in the middle of it, pepper in some fun, pepper in some silliness, and enjoy. They're kids.
Yeah,
they're kids.
Sing songs. We're very musical at our house. But
Yeah, we
sing
are.
songs. We sang songs about everything. We sang songs about numbers, about letters, about God things, about scriptures. We sang we sang songs about everything. We sang silly songs. We sang fun songs. We just would sing everything. And the kids learned to even make up songs about the stuff that we were doing. But we did it together. We did it together because that in the car, make up songs in the car, or even if you're doing a song on the radio or on the CD or something that is a fun song, then we'd make up funny interjections to put in between all the lines of the song, and the kids loved that.
Yeah.
But that was giving them time. We were lowering our adultness down to be fun and silly with the kids, and it gave them a sense of being prioritized. They were loved, and they were we were okay to spend time with them, and I think they liked that.
Yeah, or like we were going on a road trip and the song came on that is a big hit at our household. I would crank that thing to decibel levels that you shouldn't have, cause hearing issues. And like, follow me, family jam time, let's go! And we would like dance and sing in the car, and then we'd bring it back down and be normal again, which we're really not that normal, but that's what we would do. So there's also the thing, take walks together with your family.
Yes.
Just go and look at creation and look at the animals in the lake and the woods, or just around the block, and meet your neighbors.
Yeah.
Who knew you could do that?
When our kids were little, we didn't have a whole lot of money, but they loved to go take walks. So we would go and walk with the strollers, or hold hands and walk, and it gave us an opportunity to talk about the houses we were walking by. Gave us opportunity to talk about different people's cars.
Yeah.
We could talk about that, like you said, the animals we saw, or if there was a dog, the kids would love that. If we went out to the state park to walk, then you could like feed the ducks or something, but there were things that you could do taking a walk where you could weave God into everything you were doing. You could share with them how he created all the different things,
absolutely.
and how he loves the people, and he loves to bless people with good things. And so everything that we did, we could weave God into it with them, and we were prioritizing them. We were putting God into their life.
Sure.
We were doing everything to help them grow and become good at understanding their place in our family. How I see it.
You can even build the legacy of your family with them. Like she mentioned the state park, it kind of ringed in my head because at the state park where I'm from, my grandfather was the park ranger there for decades.
Yeah.
And so we take the kids for a walk, and I would tell them about my childhood, staying all night at the park, and what Grandpa would do, and so they're learning family history as well as spiritual things, as well as you can build all of that. Take them for a drive. And go, this is where I used to live. This is where your grandpa, your grandma, your aunt, your uncle, your great whatever built this building. Whatever. But build legacy, build generational pride in your life and who they are, and so you're building value into them. So those are some different things you can do. Another thing you can do, and like no one that I shouldn't say no one. This is rare. Let's put it that way. Stop what you're doing. Eat dinner together.
Yes.
Even better, make dinner together, and then eat it together. It's okay if you go get the KFC, the Taco Bell, the whatever, the Giordano's, the Biaggi's, whatever it is that you like to eat. The from high end to low end, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But it's even better if you get in the kitchen with them.
Yes.
And make a mess that you'll have to clean up afterwards.
Yeah.
And learn how to cook with each other, and you're teaching them that too. That's a skill we talked about in another class, another course. But anyway, they're learning things there too, and it opens you up to conversations, and it's developing a priority in their life. Yeah. And then sit down and have that meal together and enjoy it. Watch them enjoy the meal that they make. I've got several kids that like to cook quite a bit. I've got one. It's my oldest son, and that guy likes to create stuff in the kitchen. And he's hilarious to watch because he gets his apron on, because he is not macho at all. And he gets his apron on, and he just is in his own world creating and crafting and doing. Yeah. And then he sits down and enjoys the thing, whatever it was that he made. Yeah. And I got a couple of my daughters, they do the same thing. So it's just something that you can do.
But I prioritize teaching them to cook. I prioritize learning how to create things, and so all of our kids, because I made it a priority to be in the kitchen together, and I made it a priority for them to be able to touch and do and feel, and they felt valued, and they were able to share value with the rest of our family because they learned to cook a whole meal for everybody. And then we could tell them how good they did, and then they beamed because they made something and everybody liked it, and so we were valuing them. We were making them special by teaching them skills like cooking, and then we would eat it all together around a table where we have eye contact and conversation. You're going to hear that from us a whole lot, but this world does not value eye contact and conversation, and it's so important. It's so important to your family. You need to know about the people in your family. They need to know about you. Prioritizing your children means you learn about them, and they learn who you are. It's just like the legacy that he was talking about. You're building legacy by sitting around that table together.
Absolutely right.
You're valuing them because you're teaching them manners when they sit at the table, hopefully. And that's a whole nother story too, but you're going to teach them manners, and they're going to enjoy the specialness of sitting at the table together and knowing that it's something that pleases mommy and daddy. Sure. And it's something that that you're encouraging them to learn and grow in, and that makes them feel special and prioritized because mom thinks it's a special thing for us to be together. It's just something that you can do to really build that value into them. Another thing that always happened at our house was daddy tickle or wrestle time, whatever you want to call it. Our kids loved it when Brian would get on the floor with them and just tickle them and chase them and wrestle with them all over the floor, and they'd laugh and they'd giggle. But he took time out of his evening, out of the things that he could be doing, you know, resting from all his day's work or whatever, and he got down on the floor with them because they were priority to him. He wanted to have that relationship with them. He wanted to have that time with them where they felt like Daddy loved them and they could laugh together, and that was so important to him. And they have always valued Daddy time like that. They know, even now when the girls are older and they're like, don't touch me, they don't want to be tickled or anything, but they still know Daddy's gonna tickle them. Daddy loves them. Daddy has time for them. That those things are in their mind. Even as they're older, they understand the importance of that time that he spent with them.
Yeah. And it's important that you show them love in the ways, you know, we go back to one of the other courses we talked about the different love languages. And so you can learn how to show them love in different ways: physical touch, quality time, acts of service, all words of affirmation. All those things play in. And so you need to have that in your mind when you're doing this stuff. Also, you know, our last thought really on this unit is this: with everything we just talked about, all the Rubber Meat Road, as you're prioritizing, I can't talk today, as you're prioritizing your children, that you mix your faith into everything that you do. You don't have to be obnoxious over the top with it. You know, I've got people that I know that they can't hold a normal conversation because it's what I call Christianese. It's its own language. If you've gone to church very much, you know that that's a real thing. Have normal conversations, but pepper God into them. You know, pepper, you know, creation. You look at an animal like, well, what was God thinking when he created a platypus? What's going on with that? You know, what was he thinking when he created a rhinoceros? That's just the weirdest looking animal. You know, have conversations that prompt thought, prompt questions, and prompt their faith, and help them to do that. Also, when you're prioritizing your children and something comes up and they ask you a question, or they have a need, or they want something, and you're like, hey, let's build their faith. Let's pray together with that. Let's teach them to pray. Teach them to pray. Don't just hand them everything. Don't just give them everything. Because part of the priority of what you're doing is teach them how to be faith people and how to be functioning, adult, faith-filled, God-loving people. So one of the things is, I'm a resource for them, but I'm not their source. God, teach them that God is their source, not dad, not mom. We're there for them. We are a resource, but we're not a continual, ongoing, never-ending resource for them. They have to know that at some point they're going to have to have their own faith and trust God, and you're building them towards that. So the priority of your child isn't just to be friendly and kind and loving them. It's training them. It's teaching them. It's raising them up. The scripture says to train up a child in the way that they should go. It doesn't mean you dictate to them their future, their spouse, their career. What it means is that you're working with them constantly, learning them, studying your child. You know, we talked before in another course about studying your spouse and learning what they're like and who they are. Same thing with your children. I can tell you about every one of my child's personality type. I can tell you about their love languages. I can tell you, you know, how they're going to respond to certain stimulus and certain things. I can tell you about their attitudes, good and bad. I can tell you about all that stuff because they're a priority to me. You know, they aren't the number one priority. God is. God first. Remember, in this unit, God first, spouse second, children third. But they're still a priority.
They are.
And so because they're a priority, I still give them time. I still give them effort. I still give them, well, you know, the due that they have coming to them to know who and what they are. I can guess what they're going to say before they say it because I know them well enough to do that. Go ahead.
No, and so balancing what we talked about before about not idolizing your children's activities. Okay, but now we have children and they are still a priority. And so when they have activities, when they have things that they want to go and do, or they're on a team, or they're part of a choir, or they have play that they're in, or whatever they're doing, then we definitely clear our schedule the best that we can to be at every activity because we're supporting them. They are a priority. It's just that we make sure that their activities are lining up with the first priority and the second priority, and then we have everything you know available to go to and all that. So we do support our children. We have always been there for what they were participating in, and you need to be there for your kids. You need to be there for what they're involved in. I had a parent who didn't always go to everything, and you know it hurts. It does hurt. You have to get over that. But but for our kids, we're trying to be better. We're trying to be able to be there. Brian came from a family of 6 children, and so they weren't always at his activities either because there was just so many of them, and it hurts. But we got over that, and we prioritized in our family so that we had God first, then spouses, and now our children, and we try to be at everything that we possibly can be at.
Yeah, and here's what's cool: even as they get older, the priority doesn't change that they're your children and you want to be supportive of them. It just shifts in how you support them. Like for example, I have a daughter who has her own blog and her own website and her own podcast. So now I don't have to go to it, but now it pops up because I follow my own daughter. That's weird. And so I follow her, and then it pops up, and then I share it. I put it out there. I promote my daughter's endeavors. I got another daughter that's an author. She's written multiple books. She's written novels. She's written children's stories. She's written a little bit of everything. A lot of Christian mystery and Christian fiction. And so when she writes a book or is making her own blog or her own, I promote that. I push that out there. I got a son that I'm actually in business with. He's doing business with me in a business outside of our ministry. And so we're doing business together. So we're talking all the time about what we're doing. So it shifts when they're little. But the reason I can do that now is because I got on the floor with them when they were 2 years old and 3 years old. And we wrestled and we tickled and we played and they knew that I cared about them. So now that as they're in their 20s and I have one in their 30s now, I'm old. No, not really. I know, but anyway, as they age and as they mature, they now can trust me with their life because they could trust me with their life when they were younger. There's a crazy method to this crazy madness that we're talking about in Family Secrets. So priority 1, God first. Priority 2, your spouse second. Priority 3, and it is a priority. It's not neglecting. It is a priority. Priority 3 is your children. Anything to add before we close this one out?
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So,
mix God into it all.
Yeah, and build their faith in the process and watch what God will do with them because my children are far, far greater advanced than I was at the age that they're at now. And, we beam happily for where our children are at and what they're doing and expect even more great things from them. You'll see them in future courses because they have some things to say too. They have some ideas on how to get along as a sibling and do all that stuff. You get to see all that, but that's another course. It's another unit. It's another time. But we want to tell you we're so proud of them. We're so excited to have them be a part of Family Secrets, and we're so excited to have you be a part of this as well. We hope that this course, if prioritizing your family relationships helped you. If you have any questions, let us know. As always, at the end of it, there'll be extra resources, maybe some bonus content. We'll see. We'll put some things out there for you to have and enjoy. So once again, thank you for being a part. We can't, just doing the recording and putting it out there means nothing if you're not a part of it. So we're glad that you're listening, that you're getting something from this, and it's helping you in your own life with your own children. Just give us some feedback. Let us know how you're doing, so we can be praying for you. And we love you. We want to keep you going, and we'll keep leaking out secrets from our Family Secrets. We'll talk to you soon. All right? Bye. Mm-hmm.